Yeah, let me just go quickly through these last two slides then. Won't take long. I just want to mention everybody what we're working on, both for the Rigs app and the Intelligence app. Beyond just kind of minor enhancements and performance tweaks that we kind of do several of those every year, we're working on last mile drillers directions. So that's a heavily requested feature for us. We're working on that for Q2 and potentially other ways to crowdsource even additional information, such as, ability to put in pictures and things like that into our directions. If there's a gate code, all those kind of things. So get more advanced with drillers directions or driving directions. And intelligent alerting. I showed a lot on Virtual Scout today, and intelligent alerting, Virtual Scout is available on our mobile apps and our older platforms. So the DI web app, as well as Classic, which was just retired. Intelligent alerting is what we're calling that Virtual Scout when we put it into Prism, right? So it'll be even more powerful. It'll query against Prism data sets, and we will be doing that in both apps in 2023. So we're actually starting the planning of that now. It will ultimately replace Virtual Scout, but it'll be even bigger and better. So look out for that. And then some future business cases and just other efforts in the works I want to mention. We've got a lot with mobile CRM, so the equivalent of a mobile Salesforce. And Fusion Connect's a huge area we're investing in the company, which allows you to upload proprietary data into our Prism platform. We hope at some point that you can be able to collect data with the mobile apps and allow it to then feed into our Prism app. So you can see kind of this, call it a two-way street of data coming in from out in the field into, the applications that you use in the office every day. And then, just a check-in feature on driving directions. We get over 75,000 times a month that people use our apps for driving directions. And that's just huge, right? The amount of data that comes from that. You can get a lot of operational analytics from that. So we're looking into that. And then just a shout out to our business automation team, different business unit that I work in. And then I work in the energy analytics business unit, which is the Rigs and Intelligence app. But we have a couple of mobile solutions they're working on for dispatch and inventory workflows. So keep an eye out for those. And then just mobile trends. I won't spend too much time on that, but there are more mobile devices on the planet than people right now. I'm sure everybody on the call probably has at least two. If you're a geek like me, you have 6 or 7. And over time, you're just using them more and more as the Internet of Things, everything becomes connected. But not only that, as the 5G network gets expanded out in the next 3 years, mobile apps, you will no longer have this bandwidth issue, right? You'll no longer be, am I connected or not? Backroads mode will be obsolete by then. That's important because then speed increases, right? So then you can think more and more I can do with a tablet or a mobile app, the same things or more that I could do now on an actual computer. So it's pretty insane when you start to think about it that way. But it's something we keep an eye on closely and definitely want to work towards those trends. So with that, I actually will throw up this last slide and send those questions in. You can send them in anonymously too. If we don't get time to read through all of them, we'll send you answers. But let's go to Q&A since we got about 10 minutes.
Yeah. So the first question that came in kind of midway at your halftime, if you will the location and direction finder be just as easy for abandoned inactive wells as it is for new rigs?
That's a great question. I'm actually glad somebody asked that, because that gives me ammo to go back to my leaders and say, hey, we're getting a lot of requests for this. So the current answer is no. I'll tell you what we have in addition to active rigs, active permits, and DUCs. We have the ability in the permits data set, if you query it by well status, you will get completed wells. There's also, I believe, an abandoned status in there. So you could query that, right? And then, that's a kind of a back end way to get to some of those locations. But we don't have the features on the map necessarily. But you can kind of get some of those. What we have talked about, we actually did a working prototype several years ago, but pulled it from release, is putting all wells, right? But you can imagine in that intelligence app I showed you, didn't actually do it, but I'll just do it now. Actually, let's go to the actual real one, the production version. Go to the map. You can see it's got every single well in the United States. I'm filtered down right now to just active wells, but if I turn that off, I mean, that's over 1 million wells that it's showing right now. But if I turn that filter off, which I'm just not going to, because it just becomes a purple mess. These are active, but if I turn that off, it's over 5 million wells in this app. By looking at any one of these, right? So you can go in and you can get, this one happens to be an active status I chose, obviously, but if I go in, I'll just turn it off. Heck. And hopefully I can get one that is without filtering, that is no longer active. Here's a PNA, right? Well status PNA, and you can scroll down and you can get the lat long. So you can't get driving directions, but you can get that lat long. So there's something handy for you guys to know. But we have talked about putting actual driving directions to all these, but because the Rigs app is actually caching data offline for you, there's no way we could cache that many locations with that much data. It would take an hour to download everything every morning. So hope that answers your question, but thanks for the feedback, because we do get that request quite a bit. And one of the things we've talked about doing actually is making it where, we know you don't care obviously about the entire world of well locations. You can see it's a mess, right? But you only work in one particular area, right? So maybe there's a way for us to go ahead and you can see it's taken a ton of time to draw this, but maybe there's an area that I want to work in and I can download just that county or two. So we have a working prototype that does that, but we just haven't released it yet. So thanks for the feedback though.
On that kind of well status question, can you explain what ducks are or what it stands for?
What ducks? Yeah, it's drilled and uncompleted. So obviously they drill it, but don't go through the completion process. So that's what a duck is. So just a sort of an acronym.
Is the same service and data available for Canada?
So yes, it is. We don't have every data set in Canada, but if I kind of zoom out, and I'm going to try to do something on the fly here. Give me a second. I'm going to turn on all data sets. Turn off routing. So just to kind of show you coverage. The short answer is yes, but the longer answer would be we do not have like things like ducks in Canada. But you can see we have, the yellow, the rigs and permits. We don't have frac crews and well pads. Those are only US. There is a lot of talk actually on the activity analytics team about adding those in Canada. I'm not sure if that's second half of the year or not. But you can see, globally, we've got all the scouting content as well. So it's everywhere. But as far as rigs and permits, US and Canada, yes.
Shifting gears a bit, could you go over building an AOI in the app again?
Sure. Yeah. So I'll tell you that you can't actually build an AOI in the app, the mobile app, but I can do that in the web app. So we'll probably have to take that offline. But if Adrian, I don't know if you can get the name and everything, and we can reach out to him and get somebody to show them how to do that in the web app. Once you create an AOI in the web app one time, it actually shows up in the mobile app. So the mobile app will read it. So that's how you kind of use them in the mobile app, but you can't actually create an AOI yet.
Can you show the assets for sale again?
Well, we have deals for sale and we have transactions. Yes.
I think it was in the Rigs app because it was kind of midway through.
Yeah, Yeah. Sorry, let me turn some of these off, because the more information you have on, obviously, the more it takes to draw. So let's turn some of these off and just show deals for sale and transactions. So incidentally, I just actually want to show this because it's useful. So I had to go into this button that is in the kind of the top left corner. It looks like 3 maps overlaying each other to turn on more data, because the ones below this green bar here will not show up in my quick toggles at the top. So, but if I do want them there, I can just drag and drop them up there and turn them on. So now frac crews and well pads are down below, deals for sale transactions above, and you see them on the quick toggles at the top. You only have 5 up there. So just a hint there. But yeah, here's your deals for sale and your transactions, and I'm going to tap on. Let's find a one here. Sage Natural Resources sells the Barnett Shale. This is an older one, obviously. But so let's actually do this. Let's do our date filter and just do in the last 1 month. And we'll tap on this one kind of down here. Looks like, I guess that's the Eagleford. January 18th gives you some of the data there. If we have comps, that button in the top right corner will be green, and you'll be able to look at the comparables. But you can kind of see some of the data we have, and there's your source documents at the bottom. I can look at any of those. I'll tap on the bottom one, the executive deal summary, and it will actually open a PDF where I can look at. This is on the phone too, by the way. I'm demoing on my tablet, but this is the phone with. Obviously, the bigger screen size, the better it looks. And then I'll tap on this guy up here as far as a deal for sale, and it's very similar data available. Right. So hopefully that answers your question.
I'm just looking to see if I missed anything. I guess the last one will fit in. How do you get rig locations, and how often do you update your information?
Yeah, it's a good question. So it's a really complicated process, but I was involved from the very beginning, which I want to say was 2011 or 2012 or so. We started putting actual GPS devices on the dog houses for rigs. We started establishing contractor relationships in exchange for doing those, and that's how we started getting GPS locations. And slowly over time, we have added an acquisition of a company called Rig Data, who basically has a lot of other contractor relationships where we get drillers reports on a regular basis. So we have a combination now of GPS technology that is then verified by drillers reports, as well as kind of manual checking process, right? So the data is updated twice daily. And the reason it's 9:30 in the morning is because it takes a little bit of time for us to get the GPS location in the morning and then override that if need be based on driller reports. So it's updated at 9:30, and then we do it again at 6 p.m. Cool. So is that the last question? We're up time. So
yeah, I think that's the last one that I see. We're at time. If you have any questions, you can email learningdevelopment@enverus.com. I'll send out a follow-up email with this recording and that discount code I talked to you about at the beginning. But thank you, Dale, for presenting today.
You bet. Yeah. Thanks, everybody. Feel free to send more questions as you get them. Thank you.
Thank you.